for the space tonight. Check in. Love you all here. Love you all here.
Hey, she like you out tonight?
Oh, she has nine.
Bash you a quick day.
You're not getting my money, boy.
Friday, the works of Shari Petti, the founder and creative director of Scene, joining us on set this morning as we get ready for a January 1st TTT premiere of the short. Good morning and welcome back.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again.
Always a pleasure. Shari, you are no stranger to our set because you have been doing the do. More recently, getting into music videos, which we'll talk about later. But Fantastic Friday is one that has actually danced abroad and is now coming back home. Tell us a little bit of the journey that this short has taken since its last premiere in November.
Yeah, November last year. Yeah, well, since November last year, I had a really cool year this year. I got to screen it at a couple spaces. I did a residency at Oxford Brookes University, so I was able, thank you, I was able to screen it there during that time, especially since it was close to Crawley Road Carnival and Notting Hill Carnival. A lot of people were interested in that kind of stuff. And it screened at Grenada at a film festival. It screened at Gatfest in Jamaica. It screened at the Picture House at Notting Hill Gate in London, and then at Days Before Carnival screening in London as well. So it screened like 3 times in the UK and like a couple times across the Caribbean. Oh, and Guyana, Temeri Film Festival in Guyana. So I had a fun time between the Caribbean and the UK this year because of that film especially.
Now, that means you're reaching the diaspora, and the reception must have been interesting because a lot of persons who reside abroad live vicariously through these sorts of endeavors. What was the feedback? What was the exchange like?
Honestly, it was really like a lot of people haven't seen that aspect of our culture before, and they were like really amused. They were like, wow, like, you know, I didn't know all this happened. They asked if all these things happen in one day or in the same space. I'm like, yeah, like during the carnival season, all over the country, you know, you could expect different things to be happening in pockets. And yes, you know, Moko Jumbies and Blue Devils and mass players and pan players and everybody could be on the road on the same exact day if they need to,
right.
You know. So it was really great to like also like hear people who either they have parents from Trinidad but they live abroad and they wanted to get a deeper understanding of the space. So like even like along with Fantastic Friday, when I was in the UK, I also showed like some of the same mass prep series as well. So both of those things were able to like play as well. And the same consistent comment was, oh, I didn't know this was, you know, happening so deeply in this space. Like I didn't know about these things. And, you know, that's why I wanted to do it. I mean, along with, you know, introducing not just foreigners but Trinidadians, so our own culture. I also was always intrigued by a lot of things. So a lot of my work, you know, is usually just me being curious and trying to see what I am not seeing or what I want other people to see.
Giving them the scene, a different perspective. I think it's important that we talk about the fact that there are persons who simply did not know because we live it, we experience it, we are immersed in it, so we don't see what others see.
And sometimes we take our own things for granted because it's right in front of our face. And then when you engage with it as from a, you know, foreign perspective, it's like, oh, actually these things are really amazing. This is like high level creativity a country is engaging in, not just for the first 2 months of the year but throughout the year. So many people always, you know, like dedicated to these kind of things. So.
Because it is a full-time thing. They're prepping for Carnival next year right after. But if somebody hasn't seen that trailer or anything like that, what would be the synopsis that you'd give them for Fantastic Friday?
I usually say, you know, Fantastic Friday is a film about 3 friends who, you know, they run away from the house on Carnival Friday night and they get up to a lot of shenanigans in Port of Spain. The funny thing is, like, a lot of people, whenever, even for different festivals, when I ask about the genre, I always get a different genre. Some people are like, is it a comedy. Some people are like, oh, this is a thriller. Some people are like, this is like a drama, da-da-da. And it's like, you know,
what did you intend it to be?
I wanted to just tell a story that, you know, was close and connected to me and that was realistic to the space that I'm in. So even though there are comedic elements, there is the element of, you know, we have young people out any night in Trinidad, in Port of Spain. You know, it could be a lot of great things that you can encounter, a lot of great cultural experiences, and you might run into some bad eggs too. And I wanted to be honest about, you know, how I experience the space too. So I feel like I really just wanted to like tell something that was realistic for how I experience the space with my friends, the things that we love, the things that we had to look out for.
So you were
as with any
storming
country.
parties and things, not pants.
Trying to.
Oh, really? Fun fact, never did that, all right? Mom and Dad are very proud of me right now. But like, it was something that in watching the actual film, I felt so connected to automatically. I've never done it, but I was like, you know, that makes
If
sense.
I were to.
Like, that makes complete sense as to how it was executed. Now, let's talk about the actual execution of the film.
Yeah.
The textures, the visuals, even the lighting was particularly awe-inspiring because we are seeing this entire thing play out in the wee hours of the morning, late at night kind of thing. And I imagine there would be challenges to visually bring a lot of things to life because there is no light. So tell me a little bit about your process and the textures that you would have.
So we shot this over the course of 3 nights. So like every night from like 5 p.m. to like 5 a.m. the crew came out, and it was actually during the carnival season. So we were able to shoot during actual events. And for me, that was helpful because budget-wise, we didn't have the money to bring in a whole crowd and bring in a bunch of traditional mass players. So, you know, NCC was able to help us out with some passes and allowed us to like, you know, document the actual space. And I was able to like mix it into what I was doing. You know, this was also like for me trying to like at the point in time that I did this, I didn't shoot a short film, a narrative short film before, and I really wanted to practice that. So, you know, I used the opportunity to, you know, shoot my own film, and, you know, it was a lot of great learning. I had a lot of great support too in terms of like different mentors and crew members. You know, Romano, he owns Resolve Productions, and he was able to help me a lot, you know, at that point in time. So, you know, I was really grateful that I had that kind of support throughout the process. And, you know, I did a lot of prep work before too. I would go to the locations, take photos, figure out my angles, do my lighting plans. I rehearsed with my actors extensively beforehand, so when we got on set, it's really just to go because we don't have the time to like, you know, redo all these things. And, you know, it went really well. We had a lot of fun, and it was, even though, you know, it was late nights, I wasn't tired or super exhausted. It felt like, you know, I was here, you know, for a mission.
You were fulfilled. Now, granted that you planned a lot of that, and then the execution
and some things weren't planned too in terms of the stuff in the old mass competition. I kind of just blended my actors with what was actually going on.
Look at you. But you do have a plan for the way that you are going through the film world altogether. Because the process of screening strategically just before carnivals, and even in the case of this one where you are now going to be premiering on January 1st at 3 p.m. here on TTT, that is strategic because it kicks off our carnival season as well. Tell me a little bit as to, if you had to give advice, for example, to another aspiring filmmaker, what would be some key components or some do's that have worked for you for that fantastic year that you had?
So what I did, the first time I showed the film, it was a work in progress, and it was at the Film and Folklore Festival, and that for me was a great platform because I wanted to know how our audience felt about the work, especially how a Trini audience felt about it, because I made it for them first before anybody else. And, you know, some film festivals are like that, where you're able to either show, like, you know, you might go to fellowships, or you might show like something that you have a teaser for before you show the full thing. So, you know, what I wouldn't do before you start off is, you know, if you want to show at a major festival outside of Trinidad, check their rules, because after a certain time period, if your film came out after a year, or if your film screened across the world before you go to them, you wouldn't be eligible. So I took my time, and I did like a teaser first, and then I did like, you know, a public screening of more so mass prep. But Fantastic Friday was another reason for me to like see what the audience locally feels. And then like the first time I screened it outside of Trinidad was at the Rio Cinema in London in 2023. And that was a first time seeing international audience interact with it, and a UK audience, you know, something a little diasporic, but also people from all over the world were there. Like, you know, people from South Africa came up to me and told me their thoughts on the film. People from like the Caribbean, people from the UK, and they all still connected with it, even though they didn't know the space, and they all mentioned the fact that they never saw a space, you know, like this before. So, I mean, I'm like, we have so much going on in Trinidad, and it's like endless stories, honestly, to tap into.
And you have endless stories, because from the films and from all all of these shorts and all of these things, music videos happening now.
Yes.
Tell me about the endeavor with Marshall Montano and that water droplet that I keep seeing on my timeline the whole time.
Yes. That was a really great experience. Like I've directed music videos before, but this was my first time like purely producing a music video. Like I didn't have to, I mean, there is a creative aspect of it. I have to like interpret what the director's brief is or script is, and I have to like find the right crew members to execute something like that by, help, guide them in the direction of what kind of look we're going for, what kind of props we need, etc., etc. And I really felt like, even though I produced mainly my own work, producing something like that felt like, okay, cool. Like I have a step over into like something else I could further explore because, I had a lot of fun. It was really, like, actually the very first film I ever worked on was a Marshall film, Basili, and I was a teenager. So it felt really full circle to now produce something that he is a part of, and, everybody had a great time on set. It was a really, meaningful song too. So I felt really great being able to be a part of something like that.
Well, we are happy to be part of your journey because, as we say tomorrow, the 5th of January, we're going to have the TTT premiere of Fantastic Friday, the perfect way to hop into the carnival season with a film by Shari Petti, making sure that we keep the culture alive, tell our stories, and that we see talented young persons continue to shine now. Thank you so much for joining us, Shari.
And
best, all the best, as we like to say, for the new year.
All the best.
And we can't wait to see what you do in 2025.
Thank you very much. And same to you all.
Nice. Guys, we are going to make sure that your 2025 is fantastic here at TTT on the Now Morning Show. So stick around. We've got more after these messages.